Right now, someone with $200 in their bank account is stressed about groceries. At the exact same moment, someone else is deciding which private island to buy for the weekend. Same planet, same day, completely different universe. Today I'm breaking down every single wealth level, from broke to billionaire, and showing you exactly what life looks like at each one, what it actually feels like, and what separates one level from the next. Stick around, because level 7 is going to change how you think about money forever. Let's get into it.
Let's start at the bottom. Net worth. Negative. This is debt-level living. Student loans, credit cards, maybe a car payment you're behind on. At this level, every single dollar has a job before you even get it. Rent takes half your paycheck. The other half disappears into gas, food, and minimum payments that barely touch the principal. Sleep is hard here, not because of comfort, but because your brain is doing math at 2 a.m. Which bill can wait, which one can't. The scary part, 78% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. This isn't a small group. This is most people. And here's what makes it worse. The average American household carries over $6,000 in credit card debt, at an interest rate north of 20%. That means the debt grows faster than most people can pay it down. It's not laziness, it's math working against you. But here's what nobody tells you about this level. There's one decision, one single decision, that determines whether you escape it or stay stuck for 20 years. I'll show you exactly what that is later in this video. Level 2 is a small step up. Net worth near zero, but no more spiraling debt. You're treading water instead of drowning. Life here looks stable on the surface. You've got an apartment, a car that runs, maybe cable and a streaming subscription or two. But there's no cushion. One car repair, one medical bill, one bad month, and you're back to level 1. This is where 60% of American households actually sit. Not broke, not okay either, just surviving. The mental load here is exhausting. You're not planning for the future because you're too busy managing the present. And this is the level where lifestyle creep quietly begins. A small raise comes in, and instead of saving it, it disappears into a slightly nicer apartment or a slightly newer car. Income goes up. Nothing changes. Now we hit real stability. Household income around $75,000 to $100,000. You've got a small emergency fund, maybe $2,000 to $5,000. You're contributing something to a 401k, even if it's not much. Life feels different here. You can go out to dinner without checking your bank app first. You can say yes to a weekend trip. You're not rich, but you're not scared anymore. This is where most Americans think they'll stay forever. And honestly, most do. Studies show that once basic needs, safety, and some comfort are covered, additional income brings smaller and smaller boosts to daily happiness. Meaning, level 3 already captures a huge chunk of the emotional benefit that money can buy, which raises the real question. If happiness levels off here, why do people keep chasing more? Remember that decision I mentioned back at level 1, the one that determines whether you escape debt or stay stuck. It's the same decision that determines whether you stay at level 3 or keep climbing. I'm about to show you exactly what separates people who plateau here from people who don't. Quick pause. If you're learning something right now, hit subscribe, because next week I'm breaking down the exact income levels that separate the top 1% from everyone else, and you don't want to miss it. Household income, $150,000 to $250,000. This is where money starts working differently. You've got real savings, $50,000, maybe $100,000 or more. Your 401k is actually growing. You might own a home with real equity in it. Here's the shift. You're no longer just earning money. You're starting to make money with money. Investments, index funds, maybe a rental property. It's not huge yet, but it's compounding. Life looks comfortable. Nice car, good neighborhood, kids in decent schools. But, and this is important, you're still trading time for money. You still need that paycheck every 2 weeks. Lose the job, and the lifestyle starts unraveling within months. This is what financial experts call high income, low wealth. Impressive on the outside, fragile on the inside. Before we go further, let's clear up a myth. A lot of people assume the jump from middle class to millionaire requires some rare stroke of luck. A lottery ticket, a startup exit, an inheritance. The data says otherwise. Most self-made millionaires in America built their wealth through ordinary jobs, consistent saving, and decades of patience, not overnight windfalls. That single fact changes everything about how you should think about the next level. Net worth, $1 million to $5 million. This is the level most people imagine when they think rich, and honestly, it's more common than you'd think. Roughly 1 in 9 American households are millionaires. But here's the twist nobody expects. Most millionaires don't look rich. They drive a Honda. They live in a normal house. Studies on self-made millionaires show the majority built wealth slowly, not through some lucky break, but through decades of saving and investing while living below their means. At this level, your investments start generating meaningful passive income. You could technically stop working and survive for years. Not forever, but years. That changes how you make decisions. You start saying no to things that don't matter, and yes to things that actually build long-term security. Net worth, $10 million to $30 million. Now we're talking about a completely different relationship with money. At this level, your investments alone can cover your entire lifestyle, forever, without you ever working again. This is where people hire financial advisors, estate planners, maybe a small team just to manage their money. Vacations aren't, can we afford this? They're, which week works best? But here's something interesting. Studies on happiness and wealth show life satisfaction keeps climbing with income. There's no clear ceiling where more money stops mattering. But the emotional day-to-day stress, that drops off dramatically way before this level. Meaning, the difference in daily happiness between level 5 and level 6 is smaller than you'd think. What actually changes here isn't happiness, it's freedom. Freedom from decisions being forced on you. This is the level I promised would change how you think about money. Net worth, $100 million plus. At this point, money stops being about lifestyle and starts being about power and legacy. You're not buying things anymore, you're buying influence. Companies, real estate portfolios, political access in some cases. Here's the mind-bending part. At this level, spending money becomes a math problem. If you have $200 million invested conservatively, you could spend $500,000 a year, every year, and your net worth would still grow faster than you could spend it. Your money is now making more money than you could realistically use in a lifetime. This is the level where the phrase, more money, more problems, starts becoming literally true. Legal complexity, security concerns, family disputes over inheritance. It's a different game entirely, with different rules that most of us will never have to learn. And finally, the top. Net worth, $1 billion or more. There are currently around 900 billionaires in the United States. At this level, numbers stop making intuitive sense. If you spent $1 million every single day, it would take you nearly 3 years to spend just $1 billion. Most billionaires' wealth isn't sitting in cash, it's tied up in stock, businesses, real estate. On paper, they're worth billions. In liquid cash, often far less than you'd assume. This is the level where personal wealth starts overlapping with global economics. Decisions made by a handful of billionaires can shift entire industries, markets, even countries. And yet, when you ask financial psychologists, the emotional difference between someone at level 7 and someone at level 8 is often surprisingly small. The scoreboard keeps changing. The feeling of enough rarely arrives on its own. So there it is. Every level of wealth, from broke to billionaire. And here's the truth I promised you back at level 1. The decision that separates people who escape debt, break through the middle class, and eventually build wealth isn't about how much you earn. It's about the gap between what you earn and what you spend, and what you do with that gap, consistently, for years. Most people never close that gap. The ones who do, they move up a level every single time. It doesn't require luck. It doesn't require a huge salary. It requires patience and doing the boring thing long after it stops feeling exciting. If this video gave you a clearer picture of where you stand and where you're headed, drop a comment telling me which level you're at right now. And if you want the exact strategies people use to jump from one level to the next, I've got a video breaking that down right here. Subscribe so you don't miss it.